Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going over what the difference is between a precognitive dream and a premonition. A precognitive dream is basically a dream where you are shown an event or you're shown a situation before it happens. So most of the time, psychics will experience this at some level when they're developing or once they've developed their abilities, and it can be very useful to use to prevent something really disastrous from happening or to prepare yourself for something that may happen in the future. It's all just information that we're given to use however we want, really. You can choose to do something with it or you can choose to ignore it. It's really up to you. So a precognitive dream is different from a normal dream in that obviously you're being shown a future event or a future situation. But energetically, the dream is going to feel different than a normal dream. Whereas normally you're unconscious when you're dreaming, just every day. A precognitive dream, you may become more conscious or more lucid during the dream and realize that you're dreaming. So it's not technically a lucid dream because you're not controlling what's going on in the dream, but you are aware that you're dreaming. So there's this awareness that you're going to experience if you do have a precognitive dream. And sometimes you'll realize it while you're dreaming and being shown the event that's going to happen. And other times you won't realize that it was an actual precognitive dream until you wake up and you go, oh my gosh, I was just shown something that's going to happen in the future. There's a simultaneous image usually and a feeling that go along with it. So there's a combination of being shown something, being aware, and having the feeling that this is going to happen in the future. So an example of this really quickly is I had a string of precognitive dreams and I dreamt of like 4 different things that happened. It was like it was the week of my precognitive dreams, and I remember dreaming of 4 specific things. And a lot of times people will experience these precognitive dreams either in a very deep state of sleep or in a very light state of sleep. So I experienced them in both of these states, which is why I wanted to mention it. So in these dreams, I dreamt of snow on green grass in April. Even though I live in the Midwest, it's still really weird to experience that. But I remember distinctly having this dream of green grass that was like beautiful springtime grass with a light powder dusting of snow on it. And I couldn't believe that I was dreaming that because I was like, there's no freaking way it's going to snow. It's like the end of April, what's going on? And I remembered I had a chiropractor appointment, and this masseuse was telling me that we were supposed to get snow the next day. And I just my jaw dropped because it was the first time I had really ever experienced a precognitive dream that came true. I just couldn't freaking believe that I had dreamt of snow in April and then the next day it snowed. The biggest advice I want to give you guys for precognitive dreams is 1, to not be scared of them. You were given it for a reason, and the reason is really up to you. You can choose to do something with it, or you can choose to hold on to it and see if it comes true and just use it as a way to kind of test yourself and test your own psychic abilities. But the biggest thing, other than not being scared, is to write down every single detail that you can remember about the dream as soon as you wake up and you realize that you just had something that feels like a precognitive dream. Not only is this going to help you be able to distinguish the difference between normal dreams and precognitive dreams in the future, but it's also going to be a great record for you to look back on to see if you were accurate or not. Did this precognitive dream actually, happen? And was there something that I could have done about it? Now you start to gain that confidence as you look back and you realize, wow, I really was accurate. I really did know that that was going to happen. And you can use it with things that aren't serious. So you can dream precognitive dreams of things that aren't serious and aren't life-threatening, even though I know that there are many stories of people that have these dreams and it's like, oh my gosh, I dreamt of a family member who had this disease and then I told them and then they went to the doctor and now they're cured. It doesn't have to be like that. One of the other dreams that I had during that week of the dreams was I dreamt that one of my friends dropped a class that I was in with her. It was like a biology class, and I remembered waking up thinking, oh my god, I can't believe she did that. And then I got a text from her like 20 minutes later saying, oh my god, don't hate me. And I was like, you dropped the class, didn't you? I just had a dream about it. And she was like, no way. So they don't have to be these like life-ending, crazy, dreams that we always think of when we think of precognitive dreams. It could be something as simple as knowing that your friend is gonna do something before they do it, or knowing that, it's gonna snow in April and preparing for that. There's many different things that can happen with these precognitive dreams, and it's not always this blown out of proportion Hollywood thing that we always see in the media or in movies. So just keep that in mind. Now, the difference between a precognitive dream and a premonition is kind of hard to explain, so I'm gonna do my best. So a premonition is more of a feeling or a suspicion that something's gonna happen. Sometimes people do get like a little vision or a premonition when they're awake. So if you are very clairvoyant, you might have actually seen the future or seen a little snippet while you were awake. Just like the precognitive dreams, don't be afraid when it happens. Take the information. If you realize that it just happened, write down all of the details that you can remember in your notes, in a notebook, whatever, in your phone. Just make sure you get as much detail written down as possible so you can begin to distinguish between things that are just thoughts or daydreams and things that are actual premonitions or actual visions that can be used to do something to affect the future, possibly in a positive way, or to prepare yourself for something that's going to happen. An example of a premonition would be, waking up one day and just having this gut feeling that something is wrong, having this feeling that X, Y, or Z might happen. Let's use, I don't want to like trigger anybody, but like let's use a car accident. So if you have this feeling like, oh my gosh, I just had this weird feeling that there's like a car accident and this person is involved, like that is a premonition. Where you can get in trouble with this though is by actually confusing it with your anxiety. So like we talked about with the clairaudience, being able to distinguish between your mind's voice and your anxiety, you have to do the same thing with premonitions and visions and things like that. So begin to write it down, see if anything feels different. If you notice that, oh my god, I actually predicted that, or I had a vision about that and then it happened, try to remember what that energetically felt like when you were experiencing the vision, or what it looked like, or what, try to remember all the things you can about the experience when it happened. So then when it happens again, or if it does happen again, you're able to recognize it and then use it to help somebody potentially, or help yourself, or prepare, or do something, even if it's just mentally preparing yourself for bad news, or if it's mentally preparing yourself for whatever to happen. That's a great, little heads up from the universe. It does get to be a little bit messy when you get into health problems or things like that, so you really have to make sure that you're being careful with this, because we never want to make anybody scared by giving them information about a premonition. So let's say if you had a premonition about someone, you had this gut feeling that so-and-so had cancer, you have to be very, very, very careful with the delivery of that information, and you have to make sure that you're not inciting fear into them. I mean, how would you feel if somebody came up to you and was like, hey, I had a premonition that you had cancer? Like, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Would you want to hear that? No, you wouldn't. You have to be very careful and know that there's a responsibility to having your gifts, and keep that in the back of your head always. So you can rephrase it and say, I have been really worried about your health lately. Would you, want to go to the doctor? Would you be able to go to the doctor? When was the last time you went and visited the doctor? Health things get very tricky. So, just use your best judgment and be very, very careful if you do share a premonition. Having these gifts is a huge responsibility, and you can't just be going around telling people that they're sick or they're dying or whatever, or that you saw them die, or that X, Y, or Z is going to happen. So be very mindful. Keep a notebook and record the date and all of the details of any premonitions or any precognitive dreams that you have to test your accuracy and to start to kind of recognize the energy of when they happen. So when you have a precognitive dream, you'll be able to tell the difference between a normal dream and a precognitive dream. And that will just make you more accurate and more confident in your own ability. Do that with the precognitive dreams and the premonitions, and I hope that helps you guys. Let me know down below the craziest thing you've ever dreamt of, or the craziest vision you've ever had that's actually come true. And yeah, that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Can I have a precognitive dream about some freaking lottery numbers? Like, not about it snowing in April? That'd be cool.